Welcome to Lesson 2, where we'll continue to look at graphing. So here we're going to be graphing given an equation, like y equals 2x minus 3, as given in example 1. Now we've already looked at graphing given a table of values, so what we need to do if we have an equation is essentially just create the table of values ourselves. So I'm going to use some x values that range from -1 to 3. And to figure out what the y values are, I need to replace the x with each one of the values and then work out what y is. So for -1, I write 2 times -1 minus 3, which is -2 minus 3. That gives us -5. So -1, -5 is going to be the first point that I plot on my graph. And what's the second point going to be? 2 times 0 minus 3, which is 0 minus 3, or just -3. Now we'll plug in 1. 2 times 1 is 2. Take away 3 gives me -1. 2 times 2 is 4. So here we'll get a 1. And then the last one, 2 times 3 is 6. Take away 3 gives me a 3. Now when we go to graph this, we need to remember that the horizontal axis is the x and the vertical axis is the y. And for the point -1, -5, I'll start at the origin, go 1 to the left, and then 5 down. So there's the first point. 0, -3 is going to be right on the y-axis. Then we have 1, -1, 2, 1, and 3, and 3. Now let's just look at the next question for a second. It asks if the data is discrete or continuous. This is of course important. So I need to know if I'm going to leave the points as they are or if I need to join them up. Now we learned previously that if you have an equation and you don't have any sort of situation or context given, then we always assume that it is continuous. So I'm going to say that this is continuous since there is no context given. So that means I need to go back to my graph and using a ruler or something straight, I need to join up all my points. You can put arrows on each end to show that it continues in both directions as well. Now C asks if the graph is linear, and we have to explain. Now we can explain by looking at the table of values and showing that it increases by a constant amount, or we can look at the graph and say that all the points lie in a straight line since we used a ruler and they all lined up. So I'm going to say this is linear since the points lie in a straight line.